James Hetfield's downpicking sucks. He's insanely overrated. The technique is weird and it's not even fast by today's standards. People need to stop glazing and just admit that it sucks. Wow, tough comments. Looks like no guitar player is safe anymore, no matter how iconic. If you're like me, Metallica had quite a big influence on your guitar journey. When I started out many years ago, Metallica was one of my absolute main motivations to get better on guitar because I wanted to play their legendary riffs and later on also their solos. So for me, and Justice for All is the big record that changed everything for me, because learning the riffs was really making me better at picking, and studying guitar solos like Blackened or a very underrated one, Dyer's Eve, got both my picking hand technique and my fretting hand technique to a new level back then. But it's been a while since I checked in with the band and watched some live clips with a special focus on analyzing the guitar technique. So I took some time to compare and analyze the picking technique with a special focus on the downstroke, both from the early era, so the 80s. If you're like me, you might consider that the golden era, but also all these years later right now. And what I could find is a super tight downpicking technique. I was actually really impressed, especially because he's singing all the time as well. They're still playing insanely fast today, probably because they still don't play with a metronome live. And when you look at the downpicking motion especially, you can see a couple of factors that make this a really good technique. You can see that the wrist is quite relaxed, so it's not like a full arm movement like this that would be exhausting to do for 2 or 3 hours. Of course, the pick grip is a little bit unusual and quote-unquote weird compared to a more traditional style like the one that I show you on this channel, but it honestly still works really well, and I hope that I play like this when I'm his age. It's definitely not slowing down and the picking motion is still super impressive, at least to me. But there's one very interesting thing I'd actually like to address from this comment, and it's referring to today's standard. So it is kind of true that today in modern metal songs you very often see downstrokes with eighth notes up to 240 beats per minute and often beyond that. So aside from the absolutely unnecessary critique of a huge legend in this comment, there's a little bit of truth in that statement, at least, that the levels are changing quickly, and that if you are into rock and metal, you should definitely be able to push your downstroke technique at least to a tempo of 240 beats per minute with eighth notes. For intermediate and advanced intermediate players, that seems to be kind of a gold standard. You should be able to do that at least with quick bursts. You don't have to play like that for 5 minutes or something. And in order to help you with that as much as I can, I want to show you the 5 steps of actually getting there in this video. So the first thing you should work on for a faster and more effective downstroke technique could be quite a surprise. Check out this exercise. I know what you're thinking, there's actually an alternate picking approach to it, so there are also some upstrokes in here. But your first main objective should definitely be unlocking your wrist, because you will not be able to push your downstroke speed if your wrist is stiff and you're using your arm a lot. A lot of the punch should come from the wrist. So I recommend working with simple dead notes and dead note patterns across all strings, or at least across 3 strings. As you can see, the way that I like to practice them in this exercise is not just going for down, up, down, up, down, up patterns. A great trick is working with groups of 3. So down, up, down, down, up, down. So I started with those 3-note groupings by playing 8th notes. Down, up, down, down, up, down. And then I was switching to 8th note triplets. But the main benefit and takeaway I want you to memorize is that you should start your advanced downstroke technique journey by fully unlocking your wrist for at least 5 days with dead note patterns across all strings. And here's the next exercise step, check it out. Alright, so this exercise is the most important one. This is where it all connects, and if you understand this, unlocking a fast and controlled downstroke motion will be quite easy for you. Just one important detail before we get into it. If you still can't play downstrokes up to 240 beats per minute and you feel like there's something wrong with your technique, with the way you're holding your pick or moving your wrist, chances are you developed some really bad habits with your picking technique, and sadly, no matter how hard you're working on this and how much you practice, you will never get to this goal. So to help you even more than with this simple YouTube video, I just released a full 30-day downpicking course for all my amazing members on patreon.com/burn. This is a structured 30-day workout program. It consists of 5-day blocks filled with different exercises, starting with very easy workouts and ending with more advanced exercises that really push your technique to a completely new level. And I can 100% guarantee that this 30-day workout will double your downpicking speed in case you're still stuck at levels below 200 beats per minute. If you're still not a member on Patreon by this point, you can sign up with the link link down below, patreon.com/burn. But we only have limited slots left for this month. I sadly can't take on a lot of new students anymore on the platform because I really want to personally help everyone there, especially in the personal coaching tier. So click the link below to see if there are still some slots available for this month. I would love to welcome you to the community and download the complete 30-day picking course right after signing up. Hope you have fun with this one. Now here's why the second step in exercise is so important. I was essentially working in the rhythm pyramid. I started out with quarter notes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, all downstrokes of course. Then I introduced eighth notes, so I played 2 eighth notes, 1 quarter note. Then to increase the challenge I added more eighth notes. So 4 eighth notes this time, 2 quarter notes. Then for the full exercise I switched to 2 measures of just eighth notes. So that really gets my picking hand going. And for the last and most challenging block, I'm switching between eighth note triplets and eighth notes. So as you can see, the rhythm pyramid is not only great to learn the names of the notes and how they are related to each other, it's a great system for rhythm guitar exercises. Just start with the slowest note values and work your way down to the fastest ones. But instead of playing 1 measure of quarter notes, 1 measure of eighth notes, 1 measure of eighth note triplets and so on, it's really effective to introduce those faster note values with short bursts that get longer and longer. Just like I did it with this exercise, slowly introducing the eighth notes before I completely switch to eighth notes and then slowly introducing the eighth note triplets. And you can continue with that approach all the way to 30-second note triplets if you want to. Now here's the third step in exercise. Okay, so this workout is really cool because we are finally talking about speed burst and speeding up your downpicking motion. Now I'm completely focusing on eighth note triplets, so 3 downstrokes per beat. But the biggest beginner mistake when it comes to speeding up your downpicking motion is just going for measure after measure of those faster note values. So just practicing a never-ending flow of those fast note values, when in reality you will make the fastest progress when you work with small chunks and then increase the size of the chunks. So with my exercise, my first chunk just consists of 3 eighth note triplets and 1 eighth note and 1 eighth note rest. Then I'm adding another group of eighth note triplets. Then I'm adding another group of eighth note triplets. And only in the last level of this workout, I'm switching to 2 full measures of eighth note triplets. So please avoid the beginner's mistake of going for extremely long durations of challenging and very fast note values right away. The best way of building your technique fast is working with slow bursts just like this and then simply increasing the time of those bursts. But we're just getting started. Here's exercise number 4. Now this is where it gets really tricky, downpicking 16th notes. This is something we're exploring together in detail in the brand new downpicking course. Once again, if you finally want to play your favorite songs that are based on fast downpicking and you want guaranteed results after just 1 day of practicing, just download this course right now with the link down below. It will save you a lot of time. Again, the goal with this exercise is introducing those super fast downpicked 16th notes with short bursts. So I'm starting with 2 groups of eighth note triplets and then 1 quick burst of 16th notes. And then to get a continuous picking movement without the breaks, so to build endurance, I'm switching to 3 blocks of eighth note triplets and 1 block of 16th notes at the end. And I really want to make sure not to drag or rush with those 16th notes and land on perfect eighth note triplets right after those 16th note bursts. That's really hard to do, and it will not only improve your speed. This exercise is also great for your timing as a rhythm guitar player because you're forced to switch between different note values only using downstrokes, so that will really tighten up your riffing. And then there's one more step you have to go through, and that's step number 5 and exercise number 5. As you could see in here, we're now exploring different patterns when it comes to downstrokes, because you will not always just play a continuous flow of downstrokes like eighth notes, 16th notes, triplets, whatever. It gets really challenging as soon as you have to play some patterns. Just like those gallops, for example. So 2 16th notes, 1 8th note. Of course, often those gallops are played with alternate picking, so down, up, down, which is also a possibility. But I hope that you can hear that this sounds much more aggressive. So if you're a metal guitar player and you can't do this at a reasonable speed, your riffs and rhythm guitar playing might always sound a little bit tame in comparison, like that, and not like this. And for the second half of the exercise it gets really interesting, because now you're resting for 1/8 note or 1/8 note rest, and then you're playing a quick burst of 2 really fast 16th notes. That sounds really cool, especially as you start digging in a bit with your pick and adding some punch to that. Once again, you could do that with down, up, alternate picking. That also works, but there's just a satisfying punch as soon as you're able to play this fast and controlled with your downpicking movement. So that concludes it when it comes to the free training of building a perfect downstroke motion. If you're actually serious about this, click the link down below right now and get started with the full 30-day downpicking course. This one comes with 16 workouts that will keep you busy for 30 days. You only need 20 minutes to practice every single day, and I guarantee you that this 30-day challenge will double your downpicking speed, because there's no filler right here. It only consists of the best workouts, so it will help you stop wasting time in your practice routine. You're only working on the most effective stuff. Click the link below to see if there are still some free slots this month on Patreon. I'm waiting for you over there. I really hope that I get to meet you. Have an amazing day. Greetings from Vienna and bye bye.